Hello, awesome nerds of the internets, the webs. Hello, Solomon. Good to be back on again. It's been a while. Yeah. Sorry that we are a little bit later. Things have been changing as far as schedule, what the vibe is going to be like, how that kind of occurs, all that goodness. Cause like we be crazy sometimes. I think. Hold on. Let me just adjust you. Just Oh, there we go. Now we look a little bit more classier. Maybe, sort of, kind of. We dig it. Thank you. Yeah. So if you haven't hopped onto our Discord and want to join the VC and get in on some discussion, you can totally do that. Join our Discord. Do that. Today's topic, I want to throw this out there, and if you may have seen the title, hopefully you did. If not, it's going to be awkward and stuff like that. Because I'm referring to it and you haven't even seen it. But anywho. No, today's topic was actually inspired from last night's What's in Your Anime discussion and stuff like that. So if you were part of that crew, you'll already kind of have a heads up in some ways. But I'm actually twisting it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because just to give you kind of an idea of where we are in our What's in Your Anime, so that, you know, if you're like, yo, dude, I want to check this out. We are taking back up Demon Slayer. We already finished season 1. This was like, I think we finished season 1 sometime just before school ended here in Canada. And so then I was like, well, like, what are we going to watch? What are we going to do? And some of the peeps that we had not watched Demon Slayer Mugen Train arc yet. So that was a thing. So we needed to fix that problem because, like, come off it. Let's go. Let's do this. It's amazing. So what we decided was we watched the first 2 episodes of Mugen Train arc. Fantastic. But it features this really cool dude. But I will dive into that in a bit. But I just hope you guys are doing well. Just a heads up, we are going to have a little bit of a different vibe for scheduling. Not everything is set in stone, as it were, to what it's going to look like officially. But we are trying to figure that out, both for this level up stream, as well as for the dojo with our guys Ninja and Jedi, and what they're going to be doing. Also, there's going to be no more streaming on Tuesday nights. I know some of you guys are like, come on, get some gamer community going on here. We are still going to be having the gaming community. It's just going to be on Discord. So, like, you can game with us directly on that way for a bit of time. We are also looking at... I know, I'm sorry, Solomon. I know things are going crazy. But we're trying to figure that out ourselves and what that's gonna look like, what that's gonna be like, for us. And so all I can say is please be praying for our fam jam as we're going through this transition. More or less of just like schedules and what it's looking like. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But, like, I'm super, super excited for opportunities that are going on. And, yeah. Now we're going to get into the thick of it. 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 Ugh. And that's as far as I'm going to go. Because, you know, y'all just have to put up with... You already put up with my singing, like, a while back. Now you're just, like, here because you're gluttons for punishment. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, we are going to be talking about one dude that is like hyper focused / only focused in Mugen Train arc, and you can probably guess where I'm going on with this. It's our man Rengoku. Rengoku! Yeah, he's an amazing dude. He's a cool Hashira. He's the Flame Hashira. He's super boss. Like, to the point where Tanjiro is like fangirling over him in some ways. Like, teach me, be amazing. You're like so cool. Like, he wants to learn, and that's the same thing with Inosuke. Gotta rep Inosuke, my man, the boar-headed demon slayer. They nerd out over him. He's just fantastic, and he has this awesome enthusiasm for life, and like it's fantastic. And I don't want to give too much of spoilers, but like Mugen Train Arc has been out for a while now, so if you're more behind than I am, yeah. Yes, he does have the most fabulous hairdo in anime. Next to maybe, well, okay. Yeah, I can't say that. I like Renji's hairstyle personally. If I had hair, I'd actually probably be more like Ichigo, but that's just because I love Bleach. Just saying. I've been definitely sporting the more Ikaku vibe with the bald head. So, rep my man Ikaku. Yeah, baldy. Yeah, okay. Anywho, so Rengoku is like this Hashira that just seems to be amped on life. Like, things are great, things are awesome, things are like, oh, sick. He's all amped on it. And, but Rengoku, his backstory is actually really sad. And so, spoilers alert, if you don't want to hear this, just plug your ears. Not with earphones on, because you already, are listening to me then, and that just doesn't work. But Rengoku has this really, really sad story where he comes from a father who's just like absolutely wrecked as a person. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean about it, but like legit, it's just really sad. Anime character with a sad backstory. What? No way. I know, right? Like, shocker. Anime might dive into this like sad story a little bit every once in a while. But Rengoku just is like really sad, and like he had a younger brother who also was like beat up on, and his dad's like a drunk. He's just like an absolute knob. And you're just kind of like, dude, like, why didn't you just like beat up your dad or something like that? Now, he did stand up to his dad, but his thing was always like he was still trying to bring honor, because his dad was like also a Hashira and was like big news kind of deal amongst the demon core, like the demon slayer core. And it's just absolutely nuts what this dude is kind of like, what he's doing and how he vibes. But he has this just vibe, and the catchphrase, I gotta throw it down. So like the thing that popped up in my head, especially Mugen Train Arc, is like whenever he's like chowing, because he's just like, he's enjoying food, he's enjoying life. And when I first saw him, I'm like, dude, you're so weird, because every time he takes a bite, tasty, 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 and he's just like super amped. Like, look at this face, he's just like, tasty, tasty, tasty. He just enjoys every single bite. And when I first watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna like freaking annoy me. Yeah, I didn't have the best perspective of Rengoku when I first saw him. Sorry for all you Rengoku fans. Please forgive me. But like, legit, it's just like, dude, like, holy snap, how are you so hype? How are you so doing this? And like, this wasn't even to the point where we found out about his backstory on like what he was like or stuff like that. We just know he's this really amped dude. He has high integrity. He cares about the people all around him. He's like super invested. And like, it's just really cool. Like, it's kind of refreshing in some ways, because you're just like, man, more over time, you're kind of like, man, I want to be like Rengoku. Like, I can get this now. He's kind of like a dude that actually gives a rip. He wants to help. He cares. He invests. He's there for the peeps. And it's just really cool. And so last night we were diving into Psalms, and this isn't actually the Psalm that we were sitting on. We're going to be reflecting on this Psalm, but we have to do a little bit of backstory before we get there. But you don't get to see that yet. No. Shame on you for trying to sneak ahead. I see how it is. No. What I love about this, what I love about this is that he just is amped to serve, to go wholeheartedly to the point where it's just weird. You're just like, are you healthy? Like you're very optimistic. Like, look at this guy. He's like practically smiling all the time. Like, even when he's bleeding here. Like, dude's nuts. There's only one instance where he's like, and I can't tell you what that instance is. So you're gonna have to watch the series for finding that out. Otherwise, anywho, it doesn't work. You're not gonna get anything out of me. But Rengoku is just so cool. He's legit. He makes me wish I was a demon slayer in some ways, and really encouraging demon slayer. And so I want to dive into this dude, David. And like some of you have probably heard the name David. You're kind of like, oh yeah, David, he's my man. Like he wrote a good portion of Psalms. You're like jamming on like, ooh yeah, I love my Psalms, and you're already probably reciting a psalm in your head or like one of your favorite verses from that, and like, or like, yo, David was loved by God, like it was his like favorite dude, like David's my homeboy. I know my wife's favorite character, like favorite person from the Bible is David, for the literature, for like the kind of person that he is and stuff like that. I get it, like he's cool and stuff like that. The thing that I want to do a comparison here is like David is definitely like Rengoku. And you may at first be like, huh? Two different cultures, Wilson. What are you doing? Two different cultures. Well, it's what I do every time we level up. Two different cultures, and somehow they mingle. It's awesome. When we look at David, David's the kind of dude that's like, he's the runt, first of all, right? Like, we see David starting off as, like, he's this guy who, like, wasn't picked because these are like, oh, he's, like, taking care of sheep. Then he turns out to be anointed by God, and, then you're, like, you know, there's the Goliath incident where it's just, like, psh, everyone's freaking out. Goliath's, like, trash-talking to the point, like, he's trash-talking God and Israel at the same time. David's like, yo, this like punk, he gotta go down. And everyone's like, you're a snot-nosed kid, shut up. And he's like, fine, I'll just show up and do this. Like, suck it up. What's gonna happen? And he does it without armor. So like that's even a bigger deal, because like here's Goliath with armor, and he gets like first paintball competition winner was David, because he took the stone and lobbed it into his head. It wasn't paintball, though, but I'm trying to help you kids at home. It was a red giant paintball. Yes. Took down Goliath. Keeping it PG. But this next part won't be, because, you know, he takes down Goliath and then chops his head off with his own sword, which is kind of insult to injury. But, and, well, really, insult to fatality in this case. It's kind of nuts. But, like, it's really kind of intense, right? And so then, like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, like, he's amazing, freaking out. They have a wicked awesome party. They take out the other Philistines. And, like, you know, someone's like, yeah, he's, like, a pretty cool dude. Like, he's pretty amazing. I knew him beforehand. Kind of like, you know, kind of the vibe, like, oh, Saul found this guy. It's like, no, you didn't, really. And so then, like, he becomes, like, the main captain of Saul's army, and then he starts leading all these campaigns and taking out like Philistines that were like surrounding them and causing problems. And so people were like, yo, David has like all the rep, because like, you know, Saul, he's killed his thousands, but David, he's killed his 10,000s. And Saul doesn't like that. Saul's got a bit of an ego problem, right? Like he's a little bit of a punk, and not in a good way. Like, David's a punk in a good way, Saul's not. And so Saul's like super ticked, and David keeps on rubbing him the wrong way. Like, he's super mad all the time, tries to make him into a pincushion a couple of times, which apparently you don't do that to your son-in-law. Oh yeah, and like, you know, David married Saul's daughter. But like for dowry pricing, he had to like circumcise 100 Philistines. Essentially, he was supposed to kill 100 Philistines and circumcise them, and then bring the, extra skin, to King Saul for a dowry, which is the grossest dowry ever. And then David's like, yo, no, I'll up the ante. We're going to make it 200, which even is like, okay, dude, like commitment level was way too high on that. Like, oh, man. Ugh. Anywho, we're moving onward. So, like, Saul just has this problem with David to the point where he's like, dude, I'm going to just, like, kill him. I don't like him. He's caused problems. And, like, this is a problem for David and Jonathan. Like, obviously for David, because, he kind of wants to stay alive, and, he's anointed by God to be the next king of Israel. But, like, Jonathan, who is supposed to be next in line, is actually like, yo, like, Dad, like, what the heck? Like, David hasn't done anything. And you are, like, trying to kill him. Like, clearly God's got something good going on with this dude. And you just keep finding ways to almost kill him. And at one point, Saul was so ticked off at his son that he chucked a spear at him. And it's like, dude has too many spears around his kingdom. I'm just saying. Saul, like, you ever, like, check out, like, those drop off your keys dishes you have at the house, or, like, the knick-knack jar that's, like, around that, like, you just pick up and put things and stuff? I think that's what Saul was like with his spears. It's like, yo, like, just put a bunch of spears here. You can never have too many spears. You never know when you're ticked off and you need to hurl something at. Like, the dude needs less spears. Anywho, I am rambling hard on this. But here's the thing, and this is where we're leading off into 1 Samuel chapter 21, because it's going to lead into the chapter that we're going to read from Psalm and dissect it and really sit with Rengoku. Because, like, there's a verse that I have connected to Rengoku that really reminds me of David, and so it's fun. But anywho, so this is the situation where then, like, Jonathan's like, yo, I think your dad, like, legitimately is trying, like, my dad's trying to kill you. And so I'm going to give you a signal. And if I shoot an arrow that's, like, too far out, that means, like, you got a piece out. Like, I'm going to shoot it and, like, tell the guy, like, yo, it's, like, way farther than where it is. And that means, like, yo, you got a piece out. But if it, like, I shoot it short and it's like, oh, no, like, you can bring it in closer. Like, that means that, like, it's safe to come in. And, like, dad's not going to kill you. Yeah, he found out, definitely, that was not ideal. So then he has to tell David, adios muchachos, bros, dudes, broheim, as I like to call them. Like, they were tight bros. They were really close. They were closer than family, which is nuts. And it just kind of sucked. And so now David's on the run. And so this is where we find 1 Samuel chapter 21. Get ready. Ha ha. So 1 Samuel chapter 21. For those of you reading, I hope you enjoy. For those of you who aren't, well, we're going to work on that, aren't we? We're going to dive into that together. All right. Get ready. Here we go. 1 Samuel chapter 21. David went to the town of Nob. Apparently there's a bunch of knobs. To see Ahimelech, the priest. Ahimelech trembled when he saw him. Are you alone? He asked. Why is no one with you? Because he knows clearly, he's a warrior. So you're kind of like freaking out. The king has sent me on a private matter, David said. He told me not to tell anyone why I'm here. I have told my men where to meet me later. Now, what is there to eat? Give me 5 loaves of bread or anything you have. Like, dude's been on the run. He's starving. We don't have any regular bread, the priest replied, but there is the holy bread, which you can have if your young men have not slept with any women recently. It's holy bread. It makes sense. Like, this was dedicated for, like, giving to God. It's part of the sacrificial system that was going on at that time. So, like, these priests are, like, taking care of this. Don't worry, David replied. I never allow my men to be with women when we are on a campaign, and since they stay clean on ordinary trips, how much more on this one? Because this is about his life. Since there was no other food available, the priest gave him the holy bread. Oh, snap. The bread of the presence that was placed before the Lord in the tabernacle. That's pretty intense bread. Like, this is the thing that only priests were allowed, and it was like, this was bread that was sitting like in their tabernacle, so like right close to the presence of God, which is like really cool. It's like signifying God's provision. That's what it's supposed to be in this case. It has been replaced that day with fresh bread. Oh, dang, he got fresh bread. Nothing better than fresh bread, I'm going to say that. Sorry, I'm adding a whole lot of extra commentary. Now, Doeg, the Edomite, Saul's chief herdsman, was there that day, having been detained before the Lord. Oh, snap. David asked Ahimelech, "Do you have a spear or sword? The king's business was so urgent that I didn't even have time to grab a weapon." Yo, like, he's playing strong cover here. "I only have the sword of Goliath, the Philistine, whom you killed in the valley of Elah." The priest replied, "It is wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod," which is like, what the heck? Why is it? This is like a priest. Okay. "Take that if you want it, for there is nothing else here." "There is nothing like it," David replied. "Give it to me." He's like super amped now. So David escaped from Saul and went to King Achish, or Achish, I think. I'm going to say Achish, of Gath. But the officers of Achish were unhappy about his being there. "Isn't this David, the king of the land?" Oh, snap. They asked, "Isn't he the one the people honor with dances, singing, 'Saul has killed his thousands, David his 10,000s'?" David heard these comments and was very afraid of what King Achish of Gath might do to him. So he pretended to be insane, scratching on doors and drooling down his beard. Finally, King Achish said to his men, "Must you bring me a madman? We already have enough of them around here. Why should I let someone like this be my guest?" First of all, that's just meta. Like, David's main way of going like, "Oh crap, I'm already on the run. I don't want another dude causing crap for me. Look like you're insane." Like, because no, that's just logical, I guess. Apparently it was pretty convincing, so that scares me how good of an actor David is. First off, that's just nuts. So, like, you know, there's that thing. Also, I'd like to note, David's carrying Goliath's sword, which was like massive, like huge, and like he chopped off Goliath's head when he was like a teen, essentially. So, like, you know, it was huge enough for him when he was a teen, but like this would still be pretty big for an average dude. Like, are we getting some Cloud vibes here? You know, like Final Fantasy vibes with like Cloud Buster Sword. Like, is that really the inspiration that we get this from? Maybe some anime crew were like really sitting in on this David image and it's like, "Oh, dude, you know what would be sick? You know, like this David dude, he had like a giant sword that he took from a giant. Like, why couldn't you just carry that?" Maybe Blue Beetle fans, you know, you're going to dig on that. Because you see it in the trailers. That's not a spoiler. That's trailers. That's fine. But, like, David's resourceful. But the cool thing is, and I touched on this just briefly, but they are having the bread, right? The bread from the whole, like, the holy place, because there's the holy and then there's the holy of holies, which is like ultimate temple. It's really good stuff. It's intense vibes, right? But like this bread has been in front of God. It's been like kind of like it's a blessing kind of thing, and it's supposed to be provision. And here it is like, "Yo, I'm like starving. Can I get some food?" And they're like, "The only thing we have is like the holy bread." It's like done. So it's kind of intense, you know, like the whole idea that God is providing in this way. So it's like ordained. So it's important for you to remember that. So you might be like, "Wilson, I don't get how this is connecting to Rengoku." Just wait, because we're about to hit Psalm 34. Shock and awe, everybody. It's okay, catch a breather. And we are going to read it all the way. And you'll see now why I, had to do 1 Samuel 21, because when we're reading Psalm 34, it starts off, a Psalm of David regarding the time he pretended to be insane in front of Abimelech, who sent him away. So this is all like in focus. This is like David kind of retrospectively having a moment where he's thanking God and stuff like that. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to be reading and kind of following it. Like, how does that all connect? Just saying. This is really cool. I will praise the Lord at all times. I will constantly speak his praises. I will boast only in the Lord. Let all who are helpless take heart. Come, let us tell the Lord's greatness. Let us exalt his name together. I prayed to the Lord, and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. In desperation, I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord listened. He saved me from all my troubles. For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you, his godly people. For those who fear him will have all they need. Even strong lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. Come, my children, and listen to me, and I will teach you to fear the Lord. Does anyone want to live a life that is long and prosperous? Then keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it. The eyes of the Lord watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. But the Lord turns his face against those who do evil. He will erase their memory from the earth. The Lord hears his people when they call to him for help. He rescues them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. The righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time. For the Lord protects the bones of the righteous. Not one of them is broken. Calamity will surely destroy the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be punished. But the Lord will redeem those who serve him. No one who takes refuge in him will be condemned. Yeah, that's a long one. That's 22 verses. But, you can, piece it together a little bit, right? Remembering that this is all in the context of 1 Samuel 21, right? You're sitting into this idea that David is in a really not so great situation. He's being hunted down. And later on, you find out that one of the places that, harbored, him and his, troops, they kind of get slaughtered. The people that were housing him. And it was supposed to be this space of refuge, this space of, safety that you can run to when you're in trouble, and they'll make sure that they take care of you and stuff like that until things are sorted out. Yeah, that didn't work out for this crew. And, Saul is, kind of a big knob that just is absolutely reactive at this point. But yet, he starts off with praising. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because he's on the run, he's asking for help, and these people are willing to respond to it, right? They could have been yo, you're not king. Not yet. So, no. Shove off. We're loyal to Solomon. Or, not Solomon, to Saul. I'm thinking Solomon because I'm seeing your name up there, Solomon, just saying. But, they could have been we're loyal to Saul. Heck with you. No. That's treason right there. But what do? They end up staying true, right? Well, what's really going on? He's running. But, from what they know of, he's running because Saul had sent him. Now, that's a little bit of a cheater's way of going about it, but, really, there has not been an official death warrant on his head so far. So far, it's just Saul being extra ticked off, not happy, And David's running for his life at this point. Like, he's just needing to get out and get away from the bad situation. Ooh. Did I accidentally hit the wrong? I did hit the wrong thing. That was my bad. But anywho, when he's there, he's greeted with grace, right? Like, I prayed to the Lord, he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their face. Like, look specifically verse 8. Taste and see the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Like, you have to know he was talking about the bread at this point. Like, he's probably, like, as he's writing this, and be like, yo, that bread, I kind of want more of it. Kind of tasty. And that was for him and his army, right? Like, that was for him and his crew. And, like, of course there's parameters, but, like, God literally provided this. This was, like, freshly made, right? And so the follow-up, fear the Lord, you his godly people, for those who fear him will have all they need. Even strong lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. Like, he didn't have a weapon for defending himself. Oh, look, you remember the Goliath Killer 3000? Here it is. And it's still good. So, like, you know, here you go. Like, he's still set up, and he's able to go onward. Or the fact that there's another king hearing about, like, David, who's going to be the potential king, which, again, is cool forthtelling. But, like, instead of being like, oh, like, I'm going to kick your face in, he's like, like, going nuts. And just, like, the king's like, yo, dude, that's a messed up, we got the wrong guy here. No. Like, God's protection is still there, right? This is why all throughout this, he's trying to trying to teach people, like, no, like, fear God, focus on God, be the one who maintains the focus on it. And I love that he doesn't shy away that things are going to be difficult, right? Here in verse 19, the righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time. For the Lord protects the bones of the righteous. Not one of them are broken. Yo, that's, like, pretty intense, right? Like he's saying right off the hop, you're not just going to coast through life, and it's not just going to be easy. It's not going to be smooth sails. Like, even when you're doing the right thing, and almost especially because you're doing the right thing, it's not going to be easy. But eyes of the Lord watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. But the Lord turns his face against those who do evil. He will erase their memory from the earth. And the thing that we were talking about last night, we were diving into specifically Psalm 57, which was referring to the time when, which was referring to the other part of 1 Samuel 20, I think it was 23 or 24, that we were reading last night, where Saul walks into the same cave that David and his men are, and he's going to the washroom, and his crew are like, yo, man, now's our time to take out a king who's been a punk. And, like, David comes up, slits his robe, takes a piece, walks away. But he's so guilt-ridden that he's even done that. He's like, oh, guys, we can't kill him. And he, like, tells off his army, and he has to hold him back and be like, no, we're not going to kill Saul. Yes, I get it. But, like, so Saul pieces out of the cave, and David, like, rushes out and is like, do you not realize I could have killed you? Do you not realize I could have ended you? That everyone else is saying this is God's hand, that, like, legitimately I had every right to kill you. And I could just do that right now, right here, right now. But I didn't, because you're God's anointed one. So, like, you're called specifically to be the king. You're set apart because of that. So I am following God. So stop trying to kill me. Like, he's just, like, absolutely frustrated. Like, just stop trying to kill me. I didn't do anything wrong to you. And typical moment, Saul has a V8 moment. Like, oh, doy. Like, how am I so dumb? Why am I hunting you? Yeah, you haven't done anything. Why am I hunting you? And so he's like apologetic. He feels brutal. He says he's like sorry for hunting him, and he asks David, like, when you become king, can you just like not kill my crew? Because like that's a habit, right? Kings be killing other people's, like, other kings' peeps, because you want to make sure your lineage keeps going and not having like some dude who's very ticked off later and stuff like that. That is just how it went. But like David, again, his mindset is focusing on God, right? Like God's the one who's going to bring justice. God's the one who's going to set things right. But here specifically, it's finding joy in it. Like he starts off just literally thanking God. He's thanking God for all these different things and praising. Like it's like a worship song. He's like, man, I'm going to praise God at all times. Like I'm going to talk about him all day. Like, dude, you're going to get tired of how I talk about God. And that sounds kind of like this dude Rengoku, right? Who just keeps on, tasty, tasty, tasty. Like, Rengoku, even when he's talking with Tanjiro, he's like, let's do a mentorship together. I can teach you how to be better. Ha ha! Like, he's almost All Might, but like, if All Might kept on going with the crazy, like, optimism. Because, there's big All Might and then there's Small Might, right? Who is very pessimistic and, hey, what's wrong with you, kid? Like calling it as it is. Versus Rengoku, he's just never off. The guy is just nothing but hype energy, excitement, and life is good. Even when it's a potential danger, I'm gonna figure it out. And the scene particularly that I'm thinking of, not just tasty, but also the scene that we watched last night. And one of our students shared a really cool insight, and I thought it was amazing. Rengoku is facing this one demon, right? And this demon has a kid, like, grasped. Clearly he's able to kill the kid. But he finds out that one of his past victims ended up alive because of Rengoku and his team, and he's like, oh yeah, well, she may be healed, but she will always be afraid. Like, basically, like, suck on it. You didn't really help much. She's just always going to be afraid. And Rengoku, like, you see him, he's like, we don't just heal the body, we heal the soul. She will not be afraid of anything anymore. Like, she will stand boldly. And you're just like, ooh, snap. Like, oh, dang. That's perspective change, right? Like, that's taking a frown and really flipping it upside down. Like, it just absolutely nuts. But, like, that's the awesome, hopeful optimism. But it's not even optimism as, like, oh, like, I hope. And it's, like, based on nothing. It's like, Rengoku is so optimistic, he's gonna make things work so that it's good. Like, his mindset is like, things suck. We're going to keep pushing through. Because, yes, this sucks now, but it's going to be way better at the end. Like, push through. Remember, life is awesome. There are people that are depending on you, and you are investing in them and stuff like that. It's just nuts. And, like, honestly, that's kind of the vibe that I get from Psalm 34 here. It's a reminder of, like, thankfulness in God and thankfulness of the situation that even you're in, which is weird. Like, why would you be thankful for the difficulties that you're facing? Because it means you're calling on God. Because it means you are constantly reminding who's bigger than your situation. That's like David logic right there, which is like Rengoku kind of logic. Like, if you're tracking with me here, guys, like you following along, hopefully you're getting this. But, like, that's the thing about it, is we are seeing this like, shift in mindset and focus that, maybe we are doing things wrong. And I'm not saying that, like, you can't be upset about wrong things that are happening to you. I'm not saying that. Like, by all means, David wouldn't say that either. Like, he's written so many psalms that are like, man, why are things so stupid? Like, and legitimately asking God those questions, right? And that's good. We need to be willing to ask those questions and be able to call for God for help in the midst of it. But also we need to be able to sit and just go like, God, you've showed up different ways. And sometimes I just lose sight of that because I get so focused on my own stuff and my own vibe. And God, really, like, you are here. And that's something I need to learn. Because I get very focused on, like, circumstances around me. Like, I feel like half the time I'm definitely Zenitsu. Yeah, I'm willing to admit it. I sometimes feel like I'm the cry baby that, like, freaks out over everything. And I kind of want to be like Rengoku. I kind of want to be like Rengoku in that, like, I want to be able to enjoy what's going on around me. And, like, that's why we had a sticker. Oh, I'll bring up the sticker because you guys need to see the sticker. If you're on our server, you've already seen the sticker. But this is a sticker that I made. And literally, it's just, okay. It's just tasty. And it's off of the psalm that we've been reading. And it's referring to taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste it. Try it. Know that God is good. He is here. He's listening. He's patiently there. But he's like, that's a reminder we all can have. Every bite is tasty. Everything is awesome. Because you're not even the sustainer of where you are at. That God's the one who provides that too. Huh. And so I know that's a personal challenge for me, is to remember, how can I be more like Rengoku? And also, like, look at Jesus, how he did that. He was thankful for God. He was always connecting with God, but he was looking at the opportunities that were around him. He stopped and did ministry to those around him in the moment. And when sucky situations were going on, yeah, I get that he's 100% man, 100% God. It's kind of like he can just kind of like walk and do whatever. Like, legit, walk on water, whatever, waves, no big deal. But, like, look at how that reverberated, though, to his disciples, right? Like, Peter was in prison, and then an angel opens it and walks him out. Paul and Silas decide to sing some worship songs. There's a rumble that frees the prisoners, and then they're able to share ministry to a soldier who was about to kill himself because, once you see everybody's, like, gonna be breaking out because it's jail, no one wants to be in jail, and Paul and Silas like, whoa, we're all here, we're all here, we're still good. Like, dude, we're still good. Don't do it. Said, do you know about this dude named Jesus? Like, they took a mega frown and turned it upside down. So, guys, maybe we need to do more of that. Maybe we need to do more of what Rengoku is encouraging and what we see David doing in Psalm 34. Learning to just praise in the middle of it. And I'll tell you, when I roll this die and I get praise ye the Lord, I'm often like, seriously, dude? Like, really? I need to, right now? And, like, I'm not kidding. It sounds weird, but, like, it's a good mental check to go like, yeah, no, Wilson, you need to be praising through this situation. You need to be thanking God that you even have breath. Thanking God that you have this table or, like, this setup that you can even talk with people on. That you got to have yogurt today. Seems ridiculous. But then it's taking into every bite. Tasty. Tasty. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Live life intentionally. Live with radical, hopeful optimism. And I appreciate later on in Peter, and we've talked about this before, but how Jesus is our living hope. So it's not like a false hope. It's like a legit hope that we can rest in and trust and rely on him for. And that's probably what even David saw, even as he was doing it, and he was trusting. Like, there's going to be deliverance. There's going to be something that's going to save me. And so then he can say, taste and see that the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his godly people, for those who fear him will have all they need. Even strong young lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. So my challenge to you guys, my level up challenge as it were, are you looking at life like Rengoku? Or are you running around like Zenitsu? Are you taking into account everything that, yes, even though things are sucking and are brutal, because that's life. It's not an easy trip for anybody. And for some, it's even worse. I will totally admit that. But are you keeping perspective in mind? Are you holding on to perspective? Are you willing to lean and trust that, no, God, like, you can still use this? One song that I've been hearing a lot has this phrase, what the enemy meant for evil, you turned it for good, right? And that's a quote from Genesis. That's all about Joseph talking about what his brothers did, right? What you intended for evil, God turned for good. Like, if anyone really wanted a negative perspective, it would be Joseph. But yet, he still had that focus of, like, leaning on God, trusting in him, and using what God had given him as a gift. So yeah, what perspective are you going to have? Are you going to be Rengoku? Live life with a focus of joy. And joy is like happiness in the midst of difficulty. It's deeper than happiness. Happiness is fleeting. Joy is consistent. And that's what I love about Rengoku. He just keeps on smiling. And that's the thing that All Might's supposed to be known for. But All Might only really keeps on smiling when he's big All Might, not when he's small Might. And if you're like, Wilson, I don't feel like I can be that right now. Are you connecting with people that are willing to meet with you, talk with you, hear what these difficulties are, who are willing to take on burdens alongside you so that you can really taste and see that the Lord is good, that he's got people in your life that care about you, that he's brought people into your life and willing to pray, support, be an encouragement, check in with you. Because that's another way God provides things. And maybe you just need to outright, like I'm going to say outright, just pray to God on it. I prayed to the Lord and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their face. In my desperation, I prayed, and the Lord listened. He saved me from all my troubles. For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him. Yo, David's putting out a big check to cash out there. Like that's like heavy leaning on God, right? Like that's heavy push on, like, okay, fine, God, all right. And he's speaking from his experience. He's speaking from his situation. And like you read all throughout Samuel, like 1 Samuel, yep, God showed up in a lot of different ways that was just bonkers for David. But he showed up because David was trusting in him. He was leaning on him. He was depending on him. That same God that did that for David is the same God that cares about you and wants to do that for you and help you keep that hopeful optimism, that ever-living hopeful optimism, as I like to call it. So take the challenge. Try and live life more positively. I've heard even psychologists say that if you have a practice of gratitude where you are thankful for things and you learn to say thank you more consistently or make a list of things that you are thankful for, it actually shifts your mindset. It can actually give you benefits to your brain chemistry. That's what I've heard. And what's it going to do? What harm is going to come by it if you are thankful? Or if you're writing out the things that you can be thankful for. And it can be simple as, I am thankful that I was able to get up out of bed today. I am thankful that I did not just die in my sleep, right? Because, like, you don't know how, like, your body just breathes. When you go to sleep, you are trusting your body's still going to be breathing. Sounds really ridiculous and silly, but it's the truth. Like, you don't know when your body decides to shut down or stuff like that. So this is where sometimes you just gotta be thankful for the things that you have just zero control of, but are there. And even thank you that I am here. Thankful that I get to be on here with you guys who are chilling, sitting with me, and hearing me rant. I still wonder sometimes how you guys put up with me, but, like, I'll take it because honestly, this is where I'm seeing God's lead here, is that we need to be sharing more. We need to be honest more. We need to be having call-outs more. And these level ups challenge me. And last night, definitely the challenge was like, man, I need to be like Rengoku. Not just be like ridiculous. I'm good at being ridiculous. But, like, honestly be like, man, this is tasty. This is awesome. This is good. This is a good situation. Even when it's difficult or even when it just seems like, how are you thinking that's good? It's like, because God's here. I'm trusting that, like, I'm going to make it through. I'm going to lean on God. And because there's no other way. If I don't lean on him, I know I can't handle it on my own. That's why I'm calling on him. But I'm trusting. I'm relying. And it says that he's faithful. So you may as well taste and see that the Lord is good. Sorry, keep on leaning on that one verse. But be Rengoku. Remember, it's about tasty. Tasty! Yeah, okay. Any prayer requests on our online crew, please throw it down into the chat. Or if you are part of our Discord group, please throw it down into the prayer support area. I'll even bring that up so that you can look at what that looks like. Yeah. See, we have prayer support here. That's under our welcome or under our home base area. You can totally join in. It's a great time, great crew. We have a new prayer request. Oh, okay. Thank you, Solomon. Yeah, we'll pray for your neighbor who has a spinal surgery going on. Solomon, if you could, type that into our Discord so that we don't lose track of it just only for the stream, that we can have it and we can keep on praying. And those of you who are seeing this and you're like, well, how do you even keep track of who's praying and stuff like that? We have this thing, this emblem called Your Support Has Arrived. And that's not just a cheeky thing for Overwatch. I love Overwatch. But I love that phrase that, like, your support has arrived. It means, like, someone's coming and is going to be praying and actually is praying about it right now. And so we've got a prayer request right now from one of our crew, Elijah. His mom is going in for teeth surgery to get them removed, and just recovery is needed for that too. So we'll be praying for that. But yeah, so we're gonna we're going to pray for that, and I'll pray for your neighbor too, who's got spinal surgery. But let's do that now. God, I thank you that you are a God that listens and hears us. And even when we are having a crazy time, even when we're doing things right. Like looking at David, he didn't do anything wrong, and yet he still got hunted down. But he knew he could trust in you. He knew you were his source of strength, his refuge, his safety, the place that he could be and know that he was protected. God, help us to have that kind of mindset when we face different situations, difficulties that we are going on with. Help us to have such optimism like Rengoku that we just can't help but look around and just be thankful and be honestly amped that like you have provided this, you have given us, you are helping us through this situation, and look expectantly for you. I think that's the biggest thing, is we don't just like kind of shut our eyes off and just like, oh, I prayed, so like whatever. It's like, no, like I prayed and I'm looking for God's provision, that like how is he providing? And it can sometimes hit us in really weird ways, where sometimes someone gives us food, or someone is there and just happens to be there and is able to talk with us, or just be able to sit online and know that we're not alone, or like just simple things like that can make such a big difference, and your presence is felt in that. God, I wholeheartedly pray that we would have that optimism of tasty in every bite, that excitement and thankfulness for everything that you've given us. And knowing that you are there in the midst of it, you see us, and when we keep our eyes on you, man, like things, they are not easy, but man, are they mind-blowing. So help us to hold on to that, to trust and rely on you. God, we just right now pray for Elijah's mom as she's going in for surgery. Pray that there would be no complications, that all this stuff that's going on to take care of her for her health and for her family, that it would just go smoothly, her recovery would go really well, that you would just bless this family who's a blessing to so many other people in prayer and in support, and that that community would be coming around them and help us to respond and be around them too, and show care for them. God, we just pray for Solomon's neighbor, who has recently had spinal surgery. Yeah, that's intense. That's hardcore. So God, I just pray for recovery for him. Pray that Solomon would be aware on like how he can just even be a help to him. How just even the small thing to like help in a small way might even help him to be thankful on that. To realize, man, like this spinal surgery sucks, but like thank you God, for someone who's willing to just take a moment and just even pray for me, or even just like help me out in one thing that I'm having difficulty now because of this. And I pray that for all of us, that we just work on helping us to be living hopefully in optimism of you. We just ask this in your name. Amen. Hot dog, hot diggity dog. Sorry, I had to make that reference. My kids love that song. Anywho, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Appreciate you jumping on and listening to me ramble and talk. But I hope, remember, be a Rengoku. Say tasty a lot more. When you're concerning food, please. Don't just do it randomly. Or do it randomly and make someone ask a question, because that's also fun too. But be Rengoku. Be David. Stand strong. Know that God will provide, just as he did when he was running away and acting like he was insane. God still is the provider. Thanks for checking out our stream. Hope you have an awesome day, and continue to nerd out, both biblically and in other awesome nerd cultures. Peace out.